Frieren Season 2 was essentially continuing the masterpiece which was Season 1, and it was still an incredible season. Frieren is a very funny show because I remember people were dunking on Frieren and saying that it was overrated. I'm gonna butcher the exact wording of like one very famous tweet in the anime community. From what they said, it was along the lines of that Frieren and the gang, each episode, will go to a place and either try and solve the situation because of a problem, or someone's asking them to help because of a problem, and she'll probably get a Gwynmar, which is a terrible spell. They'll go on the adventure, go and do the task, and maybe go through a crazy battle, right? They'll now go back to the person who had the root cause of the problem or the place of the problem, and then they'll now learn some kind of lesson. Then the person will now be like, thanks, Frieren, this is gonna help out with this thing that kind of doesn't make sense to my life, but I'm still going to do it because I like my life. Then Fun and Stark will be like, huh? That makes no sense. Then Frieren will smile and we'll see a Himmel flashback. Then Himmel will be like, we did this because I needed to do this and we help people. Then Frieren now goes to the people and say, Himmel would have done that. Then afterwards, Frieren probably makes a mistake or does something dumb, and then Fern is like, Frieren-sama, and then they go on to the next place. That's basically the show in the nutshell, and that's how the person said that as a tweet. And the person was like, oh, this is just basically repeated over and over again. You guys have the nerve to call it a good show. Yes, it's repeated over and over again, and it slaps. I don't understand how a person can complain that a formula that works is working. How does that make sense? Granted, you're gonna ask me about the plot. I'll be honest, it's just the misadventures of the Frieren gang. But it was actually genuinely interesting lessons and mini stories and characters with me. And that's why Frieren is even a masterpiece in the first place. Out of the mini adventures this season, my favorite was definitely the guy who was trying to look for an alcohol that was legendary, only to find out that the alcohol was just some ass, but he still loved the journey, and that was the point. That is such a cool life lesson. Now, granted, this season doesn't have the highs of, let's say, the Aurora fight or the Frieren clone fight, but it does continue the story and continue the journey, especially when I did research on this arc, and it seems like this is kind of a canon filler arc. It's not really filler because it's important to the story, but it's basically progressing the story towards the next place. Say what you want about the story repeating itself, but that's the point of the story. Frieren is literally retracing her whole travels to see what she missed out on when Himmel was telling her in those specific scenarios that, hey, this is the reason why we're doing what we're doing. So for that, I give credit to Frieren that we could have a slice of life type of arc like this and it's still incredible, especially the fact that the season 3 looks like it's going to be very, very interesting. So I'm going to give Frieren a 9 out of 10. It's not a 10 out of 10 like the first season, but a 9 out of 10 is still incredible.